Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me for the Hurricane Sally 8 p.m. Eastern Time update. As you can see, Hurricane Sally is continuing to make its slow journey toward the U.S. Gulf Coast, and the winds are now sustained at about 100 miles an hour. The movement has slowed down 1 mile per hour at west-northwest at 6 miles per hour, and the minimum central pressure has risen 1 millibar to 987 millibars on the pressure scale. As you can see, hurricane warnings have been posted from all the way from Louisiana all the way over to Destin, Florida, along with tropical storm warnings from Destin to Apalachicola Bay and the Panhandle of Florida. This system will expect it to continue its motion. As far as the intensity, it would get a little bit stronger, possibly approaching Category 3, but not quite. So it'll be a high-end Category 2 at around 110 miles an hour when it makes landfall. Right now, the system is 100 miles east of the mouth of the Mississippi River, so it's should be making landfall at 7 miles an hour. It should be making landfall sometime late Tuesday night, possibly just before midnight or after midnight on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. It should be making a landfall somewhere between the Alabama-Mississippi border or even further east than that. The track has been trending eastward, and right now it looks to be a landfall somewhere east of Pascagoula, Mississippi, and that means that Mobile Bay will experience the highest storm surge will be east of that. So anybody from Mobile Bay over through Pensacola will experience storm surge on the order of 6 to 10 feet of storm surge, and that'll be the highest storm surge values. New Orleans, you're in the clear. You will get a little bit of showers, but nothing really extreme. Maybe less than 2 inches of rain falls in New Orleans as the system passes by to your east. Storm surge will still be coming up into Lake Pontchartrain and all the inlets and bays and parishes, but it shouldn't be no more than 2 to 5 feet of storm surge coming through that part of the area of real estate. Those in Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula, Mobile, you guys will be getting the brunt of the storm surge and the brunt of the hurricane force winds, which will arrive probably Wednesday morning after, like I said, Tuesday night, late Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning after midnight in the early morning hours of Wednesday. And the system will still continue its slow slog through south and central Alabama and into Georgia as depicted on this graph. Looking at the health of Hurricane Sally, it looks very healthy right now. The inflow and the outflow has gotten a lot better in the last few satellite frames. It's still entraining a little bit of dry air on the southwestern portion quadrant of the system. But there's convection around the center that will continue. It will not, I don't think it's going to make a major hurricane difference, status, Category 3 status, but it could. I mean, a major hurricane starts at 111 miles an hour and is at 100 miles an hour. So theoretically, it could gain 10 more miles an hour before it makes landfall, but right now it's only 100 miles off the coast right now, and so it's destined for a landfall. And even if it does get major hurricanes, it'll quickly diminish once it hits landfall. That's it. It's going back down to tropical storm and that type of thing very quickly. Now, tornado threat. The tornado threat is Torcon of about 3. So that means that 3 out of 10. So it's not much tornado threat. The tornado threat extends probably from the northern panhandle up into Georgia and Alabama on that eastern side, because this system has been eastern side here. I want to show you on the radar scope the amount of rain that we see here. And you can put this in motion. Most of the rain has been on the east, well east of New Orleans and Gulfport and Pascagoula so far. You can see the outer bands here. And what you can also notice right here is you can notice the eye wall structure right here. Right here. This is 100 miles off the coast here. If I can draw a thing for you and show you where exactly we're talking about here. Wrong one. Let me show you the distance here. So let's say the distance from Gulfport there. It's about 136 miles. Let me draw another circle for you here to show you how close it is to the coast. Let's take it from Mobile. Let's take it from the inland here, Dauphin Island. So from Dauphin Island here, let's show you how close it is to the coast. From Dauphin Island, Alabama to the eye, it's about 105 miles from Dauphin Island. There's the center of the storm right here. And if you look, you see, I'll draw it for you. There's the eye right there. But you notice the eye is ragged. It's filled in with not just CDO or central dense overcast. You notice the bands are trying to wrap around it, but it's entrained in dry air. The dry air down here is preventing a full concentric eye. and that is somewhat limiting the strength of this storm, and so therefore it's going to be a category 2 storm. You may get some gust out of here that, on the eastern side, northeastern quadrant here, that may be up into the 100-mile-an-hour range. But we must remember the hurricane force winds only extend out 20 miles or so from this system here. We can go back to the other screen here. I can show you the hurricane force winds only extend out on Sally. These are winds above 74 miles an hour. They only extend out so much from Sally, only extend out 25 miles from the center, okay? So tropical storm force winds extend out 125 miles from the center. So since the hurricane force winds only extend out 25 miles from the center, that means that the majority of people in this watch area here is not going to experience hurricane force winds, but they will experience a prolonged period of 39 to 60 miles an hour tropical storm force winds. So even though it says 100 miles an hour, you have to remember that's the highest winds in the system in that eye wall. So the majority of people from on the western side definitely not going to experience hurricane force winds. From anywhere from New Orleans, Kenner, Pascagoula, Bay St. Louis, then actually Pascagoula, Bay St. Louis, they're going to experience hurricane force winds, and a little bit of Mobile Bay will get that little brunt of hurricane force winds, as it only extends out 25 miles. So the majority of this system is 175 miles worth of tropical storm force winds, and so that's the good news. Now, another thing that could happen is the wind field could expand a little bit. It could go through a reconstitution, but it doesn't have enough time. We're less than 100 miles away from landfall, so it doesn't have enough time to strengthen into a major super system. It will be a slow mover, so that means that rainfall totals for southern Alabama and southern Mississippi could be on the order of 8 to 10 inches of rain. That could cause a lot of flooding. But then once it moves inland, the rain will still be pulling moisture from the Gulf. And so as the system moves, it'll still be pulling moisture from the Gulf, and that means more additional rain. So be prepared for that. Some roads may be flooded, some neighborhoods may be flooded, but as long as you're prepared, you should be fine. And tornado threat is low, so that is good with this landfalling system. And it's not going to be a quick mover, but it is going to move eventually. Once it's going to be picked up by these westerlies here, it's going to get picked up by this front, and that's going to shove it out toward Georgia and North Carolina, and eventually back out to the Atlantic Ocean. So that's your update on Sally. Elsewhere in the tropics, we have, of course, 5 named storms. Renee died out today, so this is remnants of Renee. Paulette is moving away from Bermuda. It struck Bermuda with 90 miles an hour winds, category 2 force this past last night. Early this morning it came in. And, as far as I'm here, Bermuda was telling me that I have family out there. They would tell me that there's about 20,000 people out of the 80,000 people population that doesn't have power. A few tree limbs down, but no deaths, no casualties, stuff like that. A few telephone poles down, stuff like that, but nothing major damage, no major structural damage as a result. Teddy looks to be moving in the same direction, and a break in the high pressure, and it could be threatening Bermuda to the east side. It's going to be a major hurricane. Look out for that this coming week. It should be a category 3 or 4. Vicky is going to die out. This is going to be meandering out here. Fish storm. Sally, of course, we talked about this thing here. Disturbance is going to end up being a little disturbance, has a low chance of development, but it's going to go into South Texas, Brownsville by the end of the week. And this next disturbance here has a next chance of being Wilford. Wilford is our last name. Through 5 days, it gets a 50% chance. And so look for it to come up next Saturday. This is going to be Wilford coming up next week, Saturday. It should be Tropical Storm Wilford, and that'll be the last name of the hurricane season alphabet. And then we'll go into the Greek alphabet, which will be Alpha. So that'll be Alpha coming up after, probably toward the end of this month, the 28th, the 25th, something like that. So isn't it crazy? Yeah, we're going through a lot of names here. And that's all the ones in the Atlantic Basin. In the Eastern Pacific, we have Karina, but Karina's a fish storm, and it will be dying out shortly. The wind's only at 45 miles an hour, and that's over in the Eastern Pacific off of Baja California, Cabo Coast. Central Pacific, you look good. Hawaii looks good. There's just a little disturbance here, just a little trough moving by, and you can see it on satellite over here. And there's nothing going on here. Hawaii looks good for the next 5 days. So I'm just signing off. Be sure to subscribe to the Weather Guru, and we'll bring you all the latest weather news as best we can, as truthfully as we can, as fast as we can. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great evening, and take care.